Hello, this is Deborah. I'm back, and I've been working on the hard to do stuff. This is a continuation from my video last time talking about things that are hard that you have to get started on if you're going to do any drawings or painting. It's the part of the art, any kind of art, that is tedious, that takes time, that you have to prepare and get started. And that's the hardest part, getting started. Now, when I got started with this guy, if you watch the other video, you can see I created this little man right here. And his name is Thaofu. And I want to do a series on him. And I created him out of my head. So I wanted to do an opposite of him. An opposite of him is a wiser person. So I wanted to create the same character's face shape, face, eyes, everything, and make him look more like he would look if he wasn't so silly. So here he is. Now y'all saw me working on, I still got a few problems I can see. And this is a good thing to do. When you're working on something and you know there's some problems and you kind of got it to a point where you're not sure what to do next, take a picture of it. Take a picture of it and then look at the picture. See, when I took a picture, I could tell this lapel is dark. This little spot right here is dark, too dark. This just don't, there's no reason for it to be dark. If it was in a shade or a shadow, then I'd say, okay, it should be dark. But as you can tell, I've moved his head from what I started in the other video, and I've made him look more mature, more thoughtful, because he does think about what he does. A smart person will. So now I want to straighten this out a little bit, so I'll just look at it. I have done some shading here already. And now I just want to make him look like he's wearing a nice blue suit, because he's a successful person. He's been smart, not been a dummy. So he's successful. So you notice I made it darker inside here on his cuff. So it looks like you can see it's inside his cuff. And I'll turn it a little bit. Now you just want to get some color going. Now what could I do with these drawings? Well, if I was a student, I could up my grade a little bit if I made my homework more interesting. If I always try to think about, because I'm a Christian, I've always worked in the church just about my whole life doing things. And so I always try to figure out how I can use my gifts for God. So I did murals. When we studied David and Goliath, I made Goliath out of a refrigerator box. I found a little slingshot and a little Nerf ball, and my little kitties got to shoot Goliath right between the eyes. They got to know what that felt like. To look up, they were like 4-year-olds or 5, and they got to look up at that giant, shoot him right between the eyes, because I have an imagination and I used it. See, there's a reason God gives us these gifts, not just to hoard them, brag about them. They're to use for His glory, to help people. Now that helped children understand about a Bible story. You can use your gifts on your job many, many ways. Sure, you can come up with something no matter what you do for a living. They say, I need somebody to make a sign. I'll do it. Might open up another job for you. You never know where your gifts will take you. So I do want Well, it's like when you're coloring in a coloring book. I always outlined. I don't know if you did, but as a child, I always outlined my trying to see what this is here. You just can't have it be. Well, I don't know what that is. No, you have to know what it is, and it doesn't look right. So I'll have to fix that. Fixing problems. That's what life's about. Every day we have to fix some kind of problem. There's no reason to get mad. We have the skills to do it. Thank you, God. Just fix it. Thank you, God. I'm not an animal. I have the skills to fix my problems most of the time. And if I don't, I know how to find somebody that does. Poor little animals, they have a problem. They can't even tell us about it most of the time. Well, we should be kind to them. Okay, it's looking a little better. I do see a little problem on his little pail. Maybe I can make this one look equal to it. Put a little. And now what I'm doing is just defining, I guess is what I call it. He's got on a white shirt. Just define it a little more. Make his hands stand out a little more so I can see it. So he's thinking. He thinks before he speaks. Boy, that's unheard of nowadays. Very few people think anymore. We just judge. I mean, we don't think things through like we should. God gave us that brain for a reason. Not just emotions. Act on emotions all the time. And artists are high in emotion. You gotta watch that. You quit using your brain and just act on emotions all the time. It's not going to get you anywhere but in trouble. And when your emotions are high, your brain don't function the same. Too much cortisol. So let's get those emotions under control so we can be used. I don't know. I think I'm putting him some knuckles. I don't have to. He looks okay without it. We see a man. We see an intelligent looking man. And he's behind a podium because people want to hear him talk. See, he has something to say when he does talk. It's just not blah, blah, blah. Please shut up. Please shut up. We're tired of hearing you talk. No, this is a person of wisdom that we want to hear. Please talk more, talk more. You ever seen anybody like that? You wanted to hear more? So here's a little podium I made up in my head. And I figure he's probably on a stage. I could have done more with this, but it was a real, how do I put this, accomplishment for me to make him. Because I have an idea in my head for something I want to do. See how I'm pushing that further away just by doing that, making it look like a floor. See how that works with shading. A little shadow back here maybe. There's a little shadow behind him, very light. On the wall. Some people rub it out with their finger. I'll try that. Used to do that a lot. But blowing helps. You can't find your little brush. There he is. Now he looks kind of dull on camera, but he looks really bright in person. So this is just to encourage you. See, he's just a simple little man, but I'm going to be able to use him to teach. So that's my point. He's not acting crazy like this guy over here. He's being smart. So he's wiser. So I want to use this character to teach. So I've created him. And so I want to encourage you. You got God-given gifts. And they're lying in there just waiting to be developed. You got to develop them. He's laid it in your lap already. You have it. Now you got to do something with it. He looks a lot like my husband. Yeah, he does. I did that on purpose. He's about the wisest man I ever met. Because he keeps his mouth shut when he should. I can learn from him, let me tell you. Keeps his mouth shut when he should, so I consider him very wise. Okay, guys, so this is what I did with my wise man. He's okay. I'm happy with him. So if I'm happy with him, I feel like great accomplishment. I came up with him. That was the biggest, that was the hardest obstacle that came out of my head. So thank you, God. So get started doing what you're supposed to do in your drawings. You can do it. Start and do it wrong. Do it bad. Just do it. Get at it. You'll surprise yourself.